Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to be uncovering some of your mind's most secretive, behind-the-scenes operations. Every single day, your brain is making literally thousands of decisions completely under the radar. So, let's bring those hidden mechanisms right out into the light.
Here's our blueprint for today. First, we're looking at mastering social influence. Then, how others see you. Third, the overworked brain. And finally, memory and hidden bias.
All right, part 1, mastering social influence.
It's actually wild just how much of our daily social dynamic operates completely below our conscious awareness. Let me ask you this. Want someone to say yes? I mean, whether you're pitching a massive project at work or just trying to get a buddy to help you move out of your apartment, we all want the secret to getting a yes, right? Well, counterintuitively, the secret often starts by asking for something they are definitely going to refuse.
Which brings us to this fascinating concept psychologists call the door-in-the-face effect. The crucial thing to understand here is that your brain doesn't judge requests in a vacuum. Nope, it compares them. If someone asks you for a massive favor and you say no, a much smaller request right on the heels of that first one suddenly feels way more reasonable by comparison. It's a classic, tried-and-true tactic used by expert negotiators and professional fundraisers all the time.
Just imagine someone asking you for a literal mountain of solid gold. Obviously no way you refuse. But when they immediately follow that up by asking for just a single small coin, your brain experiences this massive sense of relief. And this brilliantly illustrates the trick. That small coin, that was the request they wanted all along, but putting the mountain first suddenly makes parting with the coin feel incredibly easy.
But influence isn't just about what we say. It's heavily about what we do. Enter the chameleon effect. When we genuinely like someone or just feel comfortable around them, we secretly copy their posture, their speech patterns, their gestures. If one person naturally crosses their legs, the other person's legs might move into perfect, mirrored sync without either of them even realizing it. It's literally our mind's automatic, completely unconscious way of building trust and social connection.
Sometimes, though, the absolute most powerful social influence requires doing nothing at all. It's called the silence technique. Think about it. Most people are incredibly uncomfortable with dead air. If you ask a question and then just deliberately wait as the clock ticks, people hate that silence so much they'll naturally keep talking just to fill the void. It's a brilliant little mechanism skilled interviewers use to uncover the truth.
Moving right along to part 2, how others see you.
As we turn inward slightly to look at the illusion of perception, I want you to consider this number, 3. Just 3 seconds. That is the mere time it takes for someone to form a complete first impression of you. 3 seconds. Research suggests this incredibly rapid judgment is based entirely on appearance, facial expressions, and body language. It happens in the literal blink of an eye, and it heavily influences how the entire rest of your interaction is going to unfold.
Knowing impressions happen that fast can be pretty stressful, right? Like if you step out wearing mismatched socks or you totally stumble over your words in a meeting. But take a breath, because this is just the spotlight effect in action. You feel like there's a giant spotlight shining only on you, illuminating every single tiny flaw. But the reality, everyone else is just looking down at their phones. We all greatly overestimate how much others notice our mistakes, simply because everyone else is usually far too busy thinking about themselves to notice your mismatched socks. Actually, being a little too perfect can completely backfire. This is known as the pratfall effect. Imagine a highly professional speaker in a pristine suit giving this absolutely flawless speech. Now, if they laugh and accidentally spill a few drops of water, you might think it ruins the illusion. But psychology tells us the exact opposite is true. That small, harmless mistake actually makes a highly competent person seem way more relatable, more human, and genuinely more likable.
Okay, let's jump to section 3, the overworked brain.
Now we're shifting focus entirely inward to see exactly how your brain manages its own energy and stress. I want you to really think about this one. Ever wonder why unfinished work simply will not leave your mind? If you have ever obsessively stared at the ceiling late at night, agonizing over a single unanswered message or a halfway done project, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Psychologists call this frustrating phenomenon the Zeigarnik effect. Essentially, your brain fiercely clings to incomplete mental loops. It has this involuntary tendency to remember interrupted or unfinished tasks far better than tasks you've neatly wrapped up and put away.
Visually, an unfinished task feels exactly like a glowing, pulsing loading bar permanently stuck at 99% in a dark room. The tension is just palpable, isn't it? That tension directly represents the physical feeling of an incomplete assignment buzzing around inside our heads. Your brain flat out refuses to let the screen go dark until it hits 100%. And keeping all those mental loading bars active severely drains your energy. Every single choice you make burns up mental fuel. Imagine a stack of 1,000 buttons. Yes, no, maybe, that eventually just dissolves into a gray fog. This is decision fatigue. When you're overwhelmed with choices, your tired brain eventually turns into that gray fog, forcing you to make bad shortcuts. It is precisely why so many highly successful people wear the exact same simple outfit every single day. They are fiercely protecting their mental energy.
Which brings us to our final section, memory and hidden bias.
This is where we uncover how our minds actively edit and encode our past experiences. Have you ever noticed how a dozen compliments can be completely wiped out by one single criticism? Well, that is negativity bias in action. Your brain is naturally wired to be more negative simply because it's trying to protect you. Our ancestors survived by hyper-focusing on danger. So naturally, negative events are always going to hit our psychological state much harder than positive ones.
To put that into perspective, imagine a sprawling, gorgeous garden full of 100 pristine white flowers, but your mind obsessively zooms in on one single red weed. That visual absurdity shows exactly how negativity bias warps our daily reality. We will totally ignore an entire field of beauty just to obsess over one tiny isolated flaw. Because of these biases, I really have to challenge a fundamental assumption you might have about yourself. Your brain doesn't remember experiences the way you think it does. Whether we're talking about a 2-week-long vacation, a movie, or even a past relationship, your brain isn't just pressing record and saving a perfectly balanced video file. Not at all.
Let's see how this builds into what psychologists call the peak end rule. Over the course of any timeline, the vast majority of an experience, say 90% of a flat, relaxing vacation, is basically ignored by your memory. Your brain strictly encodes two main things: the absolute emotional peak, which is like a massive golden fireworks spike in your memory, and the final moment, the golden sunset ending. That's it. One amazing peak, or one terrible ending, completely dictates how you remember the entire event.
So we've uncovered the secret levers of social influence, the illusions of perception, the sheer exhaustion of our daily choices, and the profound ways our own memories are actively edited. Knowing the hidden mechanisms of your mind, how will you author your own story today? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me, and I really hope this knowledge empowers you to be a deeply aware, active participant in your fascinating daily life.